right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again in our podcast here in Anchored, where we talk about faith, family, and finance. And in today's episode, guys, I'm very excited because we have a very special guest. He's an entrepreneur. He's the founder and CEO of SEO Hacker, and he has experienced a lot of breakthroughs and even challenges when he was starting in the business world. Sean blogs about entrepreneurship, leadership, management, and personal growth. His insights about leading a team and efficiency is sought after by companies here and abroad. And ako guys, personally, I'm one of his fans. I've read his book, CEO at 22. So, sobrang bata niya guys naging CEO. And I believe for aspiring entrepreneurs na nakikinig sa atin ngayon, he will give a lot of valuable insights. So, without further ado guys, let's welcome in the show Mr. Shansi. Hi, good afternoon, Shan.
Good afternoon, Carlo. Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to all the listeners out there. I hope you find this episode valuable.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, bro. And I believe this season it's very important for our listeners and viewers to be empowered as entrepreneurs. Kasi marami ngayon na employees nawalan ng trabaho as we all know last year because of the pandemic. And marami rin akong kakilala na nag-pivot from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. And Shan, I just want to ask for those employees right now, kasi hindi naman lahat talaga are called for entrepreneurship, but for those people na gusto rin maging businessman or magkaroon ng sariling negosyo, what are your advice for those who are planning to pivot, even those na meron ding business ngayon pero hindi kumikita, tas gusto nilang at least mag-change ng nature of business?
Well, first off, if your business is dying, meaning it's bleeding out, diba? Businesses we treat it we have terminologies for businesses. The head, we usually say the head is the leadership or the management. The brains, usually the R&D or research and development department, and then the arms and legs, we call them the grassroots people or the people on the ground or client facing. And then the heart usually is the sales team kasi it's the
Yeah.
one that pumps the blood, and blood is cash flow.
Yes.
That's why when we say, oh, the company is in red, it's
Mm.
bleeding red, ibig sabihin, yung cash mo, negative. Expenses is greater than revenue. When cash flow is negative, yeah, and the business is bleeding out, it's dying. It's a dying
Yeah.
business, right? There's no other way to say it. Ganun talaga eh. Unless you're a VC-backed novel tech startup that promises a revolutionary way of life,
Yeah.
like what the iPod sa music, and then we had the iPhone. So unless you're a tech company like that, red is very bad. Red
Mm.
means your business is dying. And if you don't pivot, even if you've had consistent red months, someday you will be forced to pivot to close. So you have to figure out a way how to get back on black, which means revenue is now greater than expenses. That's if you're a business person. So
Mm. Yeah.
wala eh. You have to face the brutal facts. Sabi nga ni Jim Collins, no,
Mm.
when he was interviewing Admiral Stockdale, and you can find it in his book Good to Great,
Okay.
a very very good book, especially if you're a business owner. Sabi ni Jim Collins, how did you survive all those years that you're a prisoner of war in Vietnam? We've been tortured multiple times. All the others died. Sabi ni Admiral Stockdale, well, the ones who died are the optimists. They're the ones who
Mm.
believe that we're gonna get out by this Christmas, we're gonna get out by this summer. And they died because of a broken heart. They had false
Yeah.
hope. But Admiral Stockdale says that's why you should face the brutal facts. This is the truth. And the truth is, you don't know when you're gonna get out. You might be
Mm.
here for a long time. But sinabi din ni Admiral Stockdale, and you have to marry that brutal facts the with knowing that you will prevail in the end. So that
Yeah.
desire to win and succeed, that's what's going to keep you from dying. That's what's going to make sure you survive. So when you have those two, face the brutal facts, the
Mhm.
desire to win and prevail in the end, you're gonna have to do what it takes. Eh. You're gonna
Yeah.
do whatever it takes. So kung kailangan mong mag-close ng some of your business units, maybe sell some of them, some of your equipment, maybe you have to let go of some people just in order to survive. You
Mhm.
have to do those things. Eh. Mahirap siya, but
Mhm. Yeah.
that's what makes a leader. The hardships make the man or the woman. It's the critical decisions that you have to make that make you a business owner, that make you
Mhm.
an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs, the root word of the word entrepreneur is the word entreprendre, which is a French word for risk taker. You took the
Mhm.
risk, eh.
Yeah.
And now, guess what? Um, the risk is being called. It's being called right now kasi things are not going well and you roll the dice already. Nandyan ka na eh.
Mhm.
So, what do you have to do? My suggestion is face the brutal facts and have that desire to really win para you do whatever it takes to win talaga. Now, if
Yeah.
you're an employee and you're thinking should I just go full-time sa business or not? Kasi kumbaga nagdadalawang isip ka pa. Pag nagdadalawang isip ka pa, I suggest don't jump ship.
Mhm.
Kasi
Yeah.
nagdadalawang isip ka pa eh, hindi ka pa sure eh. Ibig sabihin marami pang factors na hindi mo pa na-figure out solidly. It might be too late for you to jump ship.
Yeah.
So I suggest just keep on doing what you're doing. Anyway, if you're doing a side hustle naman and you're doing it well, you're doing it excellently, mag-grow naman yan eh. Because that's how I started then with SEO Hacker.
Mhm.
It was a side hustle. I was working full time in HP, day job, and it was growing and growing and growing until it just didn't make sense na for me to stay.
Yeah.
It didn't make
Yeah.
sense. So, ganun yung nangyari sa akin. Kaya kung sa inyo, parang nagdadalawang isip ka pa kasi it makes sense pa rin to stay, then stay. Don't jump ship. It might be the wrong time.
Mhm.
If your side hustle has grown and grown and grown to the point na you have to do it full time or else it will fail, then jump ship. Then pivot to doing and starting out your own business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, grabe. Yung story mo, Sean, it's very inspiring. Eh. And I remembered when I was also starting in the corporate world and I'm trying a lot of businesses on the side. I realized kasi meron ding mga tinatawag na timing, di ba? Meron ka ring conviction up to what extent mo kayang maghintay and ano naman yung mga considerations mo para mag-jump over ka na sa full-time entrepreneurship. So, for our viewers and listeners, take note na pwede nyo i-assess yung current situation. Ano ba yung mga hinihintay mo na factor bago ka mag-decide. And yung sinabi rin ni Sean for entrepreneurs naman, no, na we need to face the brutal fact and we need to have the desire to win. Kasi facing the brutal fact doesn't mean naman na nawala na tayo ng pag-asa, but it's more of being strategic kasi we will look on the positive side. Ano ba yung pwede nating gawin with what we have and make the most out of it. And we have seen a lot of entrepreneurs na nag-pivot in the past few months and nakita naman natin how they become resilient and yung grit na tinatawag, di ba? Meron tayong perseverance to move forward. And of course, marami pa rin kasing opportunities na dumadating. So, thank you for that insight, Shan. And for this 2021, syempre marami sa atin ngayon nag-iisip, ano ba yung mga possible industries na mag-grow considering na maraming companies nag-adapt sa technology. So, sa tingin mo ba right now, ano yung mga industries na possible na mag-flourish this year?
Yeah. So I have to make a disclaimer that I'm not an expert when it comes to prophecy and
Sure.
and
Sure.
projections.
Okay, sure. No
So
worries.
this is just take this as just my opinion as
Mhm.
a
Okay.
tech entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So of course, one of the first things that I would say would grow is anything related to technology. I
Mhm.
think would see significant growth this year. Why? Last year when the lockdown happened, a lot of businesses just held on to their cash. Kasi
Mhm.
wala tayong makita eh. Visionaries and futuristic people couldn't see that clearly. We couldn't see that far.
Mhm.
And as a visionary myself, one of my strengths is being futuristic. It's frustrating to me that I couldn't see that far. And so the best option for me is to really hold on to my cash flow first. But
Mhm.
that doesn't mean I don't pay my suppliers. We paid them well and we paid them on time. A lot
Okay.
of our clients, though, did not. A lot of our clients paid late and
Mhm.
some paid super late.
Mhm.
So you could see
Yeah.
that the market's reaction to not seeing through the fog is to hold on to their cash. And that's why not a lot of, uh, I would say, technology or smart startups blossomed last year. There were quite a few, a handful, but compared to the 7,000 SMEs that closed based on DTI's report,
Mm.
that's not a lot, right? Ang dami
Yeah.
nagsara talaga. So some companies who flourished last year were cloud kitchens na nag-start up, grocery deliveries,
Mhm. Yeah.
logistics, e-commerce also, and anything e-commerce services and e-commerce related did pretty well last year.
Yeah.
You would think that my company SEO Hacker would also do well, but not really. We didn't get as much clients last year compared to 2019.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean I'm not thankful. I'm actually extremely thankful to God that we actually still got some new deals coming in. It may
Yeah.
be one third or less than one third ata nung na-close namin last year, but I can't complain because 7,000 SMEs closed down.
Yeah.
Sabi ni Jack Ma, bago siya mag-MIA, if you survived 2020, you already profited. So
Yeah.
I can't complain. And 2021 though, I think that digital marketing companies would also do well, especially those who really know what they're doing. Dami kasing startup na
Mhm.
nag-experiment pa, pinag-experimentuhan yung client. So they will find difficult, I think, those companies to survive this year because even if they just started and they're really trying, ang problema kasi nila, all of the ones that are established are also doing a lot of work this year and gaining
Mhm.
a lot of attention. So once companies start to compare the ones who know what they're doing to the ones who are starting out, madali makita yung difference. But nonetheless, I think digital marketing companies would do well, as well as anything that is influencer related in the digital space, not in traditional media.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
digital influencers and agencies who work with them, I think, would see good growth this year. And the underlying reason behind all this is companies can see further na this year.
Mhm. Yeah.
The fog has lifted a bit. We know there's a
Mhm.
vaccine. We know
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
herd immunity, it might come soon. There are some lapses with the vaccine, but generally it works. I mean, for
Yeah.
like 90%, I don't know, 95% of the time. And the point is, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So if we can see that, we're happier and we're more bold to make investments and pay suppliers and get new projects in and fund new projects. So the economy is moving better now. We're getting a lot more inquiries this year actually, and
Mhm.
it's just the start of the year compared to last year. Last year we got a lot less. So
Yeah.
that shows then that's a good signal for me that this year the economy not only has woken up to the fact that it's a digital world,
Yeah.
they
I
also have
agree.
woken up to the fact that the fog is lifting,
Mhm.
and so that those two things are really good. Those are really good things. And then the other companies that I think would continue to grow this 2021
Okay.
would be the companies that opened up last year, yung mga cloud kitchen
Cloud kitchen. Yeah.
and yung mga food delivery, logistics. Only those who do it excellently.
Of
Okay?
course.
Only those who do it excellently. Sila lang
Yeah.
yung matitira. Kasi yung iba, they
Mhm.
don't do it excellently, but they say they're the cheapest.
Okay.
Okay? I don't think they're gonna last long. I think those who are fighting the price war, kahit saang business I think
Mm.
businesses that fight the price war, that go down a vicious cycle in terms of their pricing, I think they won't last.
Yeah.
Especially sa mga mabibilis na turn ng tide, like pandemic, tapos ngayon pandemic is lifting, maybe 2022, wala ng pandemic. So ang bilis mag-change ng landscape ng economy. The tide
Yeah.
will turn three times. Those businesses that started out and ang value proposition nila is kami ang pinakamura, mamamatay yun within that two tides. They're gonna die. No, I'm like
Yeah,
they don't see it that way.
that's
They
true.
think kasi na, di, at least may kita kami. Pero you're not gonna last unless your value proposition is you're the best at something. Maybe you're the best in this dish. Kahit isang dish lang. I
Mhm.
mean, the Japanese, that's how they do it. You look at Yabu, they're best in katsu. They're not the
Yeah,
best in
nakakamiss yan, Yabu.
cabbage salad, di ba? Di ba,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Yabu is super good.
Sobra,
And
sobra.
they're actually very good in two things. One is their katsu and the other is their customer service. It's
Yeah,
excellent.
agree.
I have not seen a restaurant with a customer service as great as Yabu's. Okay, so
Yeah.
yung iba, they're great at their sashimi. Yung iba, they're great
Mhm.
at naki. Rarely would you see that we're great at anything all the way to the ramen. Magaling. Hindi.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you have to be the number one at something. Kahit isang dish lang yan, okay na yun. Kaysa sa sasabihin mong ikaw yung pinakamura, hindi ka magsusurvive. So, I think what's more important is knowing who will survive
Mhm.
2021 onwards. For me,
Yeah.
yan ang mas importante. Kasi alam naman na natin yung mga industries na na-create nung pandemic, they're gonna be there naman eh. But who's gonna be the best? Because those companies that are doing their best, yun ang matitira.
Yeah, that's right, Shan, and I could not agree more. So take note, guys. We need to be excellent. Kung ano man yung ginagawa natin, whatever nature of business you are in right now, we need to, of course, serve our clients with excellence. Kasi yun din yung mag-aalaw sa business natin para mag-progress. And of course, nakita natin yung importance ng digital marketing and technology right now because of social distancing measures. The internet allowed us to leverage, to market ourselves many times compared sa traditional marketing. So this is the time for small businesses, even medium to large size organizations, to really convert their marketing strategies to social media or even other platforms na pwedeng makatulong. Kasi na-observe naman natin like the e-commerce, sobrang nag-flourish talaga in the past year 2020. And kasi ngayon, 'di ba, yung mga may business na naglalagay sa Lazada, sa Shopee, mas naging maganda yung distribution nila compared to those na traditional pa rin, right? So, I have a question siya, no, for those companies right now who are having a hard time in transitioning their employees to work from home setup. As the CEO of SEO Hacker, how did you adapt in the work from home setup?
We actually adopted quite fast kasi we're with the systems and processes that we had even before the
Mhm.
pandemic,
Okay.
we're work from home ready na. We have a time tracker. We measure the productivity of the person per URL, per app
Mhm.
that they use in their laptops or desktops. So we require that they finish X number of hours na natatrack yun. Tapos may
Mhm.
mga screenshot yun. It's not so invasive. It's 3 screenshots every 10 minutes. The app I'm using is Hubstaff. So
Yeah.
if you use Hubstaff, actually that's super easy na eh. It's easy for you to transition to working from home already. Also, we have communication channels
Mhm.
that are critical to disseminating information and clarity to the rest of the team. We use Slack, no
Okay.
brainer. Almost all companies now use Slack. And we have other communication channels. Our slow channel is, of course, email. Fast channel is Slack. And outside channels to clients would be Viber, WhatsApp, and email. So we got that figured out. Eh. The only thing that's
Yeah.
difficult for us is how do we adapt the culture to a work from home setup. That's the perplexing thing. And I learned that adapting the culture to a work from home setup is not about having digital games or digital internal seminars or digital Christmas parties. It's actually a lot more boring than that. It's actually having a lot of process documents that you require people to read.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's gonna work long term for us. I think companies that I think this is my opinion. I think that companies who say let's just transition fully to work from home kasi tipid naman malaking tipid natin. Tama, malaking tipid. I agree with
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
But the problem is will your culture be as strong as it is when you were meeting in the office. I'm a strong believer of face to face.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a face to face salesperson as well, and I build relationships that way. So I think mahirap palitan talaga yun eh. When you have physical touch, you reinforce people physically, tap on the back, a handshake, kahit ngayon fist bump, iba eh.
Yeah.
So it speaks volumes eh. So I think that even if we adapted quickly and easily to a work from home setup work wise,
Mhm.
culture wise, it's still difficult and we're still adapting.
Yeah, agree.
So there's the challenge.
Yeah, but the good thing about what you mentioned is the communication side and of course information dissemination. So maybe for our listeners and viewers who are still coping up like us, make sure to keep in touch with your employees or team so that they will feel na nandun pa rin yung concern sa mga team members. Kasi syempre, nandun nga yung distance eh. Pero with the communication na intact, makakatulong para maging tuloy-tuloy yung culture. So, siguro moving forward siya, ang mangyayari na dyan is hybrid na yung setup natin. Merong mga nasa office from time to time or even right now, ganun na yung nangyayari. So, at least to maintain the culture, merong rotational employees moving forward. But what I love with what you mentioned is the systems din eh. Kasi may mga startups na hindi pa maayos yung systems. So I think if we invest in our systems, it will help us to grow our business pa rin. Kasi systems will allow us to have continuous productivity. So, alright. So meron akong frequently asked question from my clients din sa financial advisory. Many
Yeah.
entrepreneurs right now are thinking if they will get a business loan at this season kasi merong mga nagpipivot, meron naman iba na magsisimula pa lang. So what are your tips for those na nagpa-plan na mag-loan for business? What are the parameters at least that they should consider?
Actually, there's only two major viewpoints to see it. Is it a good loan or a bad loan?
Mhm.
Diba? Kasi if it's going to be a loan that will make more money, you covered as much angles as you can about where you're going to spend that money. That's a good loan. But if you're going to loan just because you need more cash because your business is dying, that's a bad
Yeah.
loan,
Yeah.
right? It's a bad loan. So you have to look at it on that viewpoint first. You, 'di ba? Ang hirap sabihin eh kasi if an entrepreneur has not faced the brutal facts that my business is dying, tas
Mhm.
umutang siya para lang to prolong that time frame, it's going to drain you even further kasi you're gonna pay that loan with interest.
Mhm.
Even if you lose your entire business, you're still gonna have to pay that loan with interest. So it's you have to first figure out, is it a good loan or a bad loan? Know what you're
Mhm.
going to use the money for. Now,
Yeah.
in terms of the intricacy,
Mhm.
the nitty-gritty, ilang percent ba dapat yung interest? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Uh, I think banks right now, one of the reasons why their interest is still quite high, in my opinion. Okay? I asked from BDO, they gave me 7.25%
Mhm.
to purchase a lot. It's super high. That's super high. So I asked them, why is your interest rate super high? Considering that not a lot of companies and people, at least with credit standing like I have, because I pay naman yung loans ko sa kanila complete
Yeah.
ahead of time. Sabi ko, why would you give me that high of an interest rate?
Mhm.
And ang sabi nila is because risk is high. Kasi
Yeah,
baka hindi mo
agree.
bayaran eh. Pandemic kasi. So I think it's not wise for if you're gonna get an interest rate that high just because their risk is high. And it's kind of like they're penalizing you,
Mhm.
the entrepreneur with good credit standing, because of the faults of everyone else. So
Mhm. Yeah.
if that's going to be the case, my suggestion to the entrepreneur listening in is get other options. So I went to
Yeah.
BPI Family Bank. Sobrang weird, no? Kasi BPI Family Bank pa talaga yung pinuntahan ko. But
Okay.
kasi I've been with them since I was 12 years old or something. So my mom opened that account pa. And they gave me like 6.25%. for 5 years fixed. So that's actually really, really good. Really
Mm.
good compared to ang layo niya. It's
Yeah,
incomparable. Sobrang layo niya
sobra.
dun sa 7.5% ni BDO.
Oo.
So I did not close that loan yet, but why am I telling you this story? It's because I want you to just explore all your options. It
Mm.
doesn't mean that you get a loan approved, it's the best rate you can get. Okay, the
Yeah.
7.25%, 3.3 years fix lang binigay sa akin. Lugi ako doon kasi BDO, as far as I'm concerned with my loan experience with them, tinataasan nila ako every time may fixing, hindi nila binababaan. Tapos for me to ask it to go lower, I pay a certain amount, I think 30 plus thousand, just to have it fixed again to go lower. So parang nagbayad ka ng interest in advance, no? So personally, I that's my experience.
Mm.
I'm not saying anything against them. I'm just telling my own story.
Mm. Yeah.
So look for the best loan rate that you can get in the longest amount of fixing time. So kay BPI family, again, 5 years fixed, 6.25. That's actually a really good deal for me. And if I know what I'm gonna use it for, it's an
Mm. Yeah.
investment. So if you have that kind of plan, then it's a good loan for you.
Mm. Yeah. That's right, that's right. Sobrang mahalaga na we identify the purpose of our loan kasi kailangan ano eh, maging clear din kasi minsan pwedeng mawala dun sa real purpose eh, 'di ba? Bakit ka ba nag-loan? And of course, we don't want naman na magtuloy-tuloy yung interest rates and hindi maging maganda yung credit standing natin with the banks. And of course, like what you mentioned, we need to find the options na suitable for us. The best option, 'di ba? Kasi syempre,
Yeah.
yung few percentages na difference from 7 tsaka 6 point something, kung malaking amount yung pinag-uusapan natin, that's very valuable for us. So, sobrang powerful na mga insights mo, Shan, and I'm sure this will be helpful for our viewers in YouTube and listeners in Spotify. And for those who are planning to start their business, feel free to share this episode to your friends and loved ones. And maybe, Shan, I would like to ask you if our listeners have questions, saan kanila pwedeng ma-reach or saan kanila pwedeng i-contact. So you can
So
also plug your events. Yeah.
yeah, you can find my website at sean.c. So hindi siya seanc.com or chelsea.org. Sean.c. Yun na yung website ko. So that's my name, sean.si. That's my website.
Mhm.
And you can go from there to connect with me via Instagram or YouTube. We have our YouTube channel. And we have our podcast, the
Mhm.
Leadership Stack podcast. So you can check that out. If you have links on the show notes, Carlo, that's going to be fantastic.
Sure, sure.
And yeah, just click on the show notes links na lang to find where I am. And then you can reach out to me, ask me questions. Sometimes people ask me questions sa Discord channel namin as well. So you can join my Discord channel. The link is from.sean.c/Discord. Okay, from.sean.c/Discord. You enter my Discord channel. I hold a live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. and I answer all of the questions there as fast as I can. So,
Amazing,
may
amazing.
mga
Yeah.
iba consulting question,
On
sinasagot
the
ko rin.
spot na, no? Oo. Yeah.
And then we record that and then we turn it into a podcast as well and publish it in the Leadership Stack, Spotify, iTunes channel.
Yeah. Sure, sure. Let's invite our listeners and viewers. I will post also the link. And guys, ako sobrang dami ko natututunan with the podcast and YouTube channel ni Shan. So make sure to listen as well. And of course, Shan, once again, thank you for your time, for giving your insights in our episode. Hopefully, ma-invite ka ulit namin next time. And
Of
to our
course.
viewers and listeners, always remember to stay anchored. See you again, guys, in our next episode. Bye!